I didn't even plan on being a stand-up comedian. Like, I wasn't one of those kids that was like, one day I'm going to have a Netflix special. It wasn't in my head.
Yeah.
I always want to be a professional tennis player. Like, I joke that, like, my dream, I failed, things went awry, and now I have a Netflix special.
That is so fascinating.
It's like I was like this little weirdly athletic kid, and I come from a sports family, and they're like, if you want to be happy, you play a sport for a living. That's only happy people. That's how success is.
Right.
So like that was what like happiness and success was. But I always loved making people laugh and being silly and creating stuff. But it's funny too, because tennis was so competitive. So with comedy, I'm like, wait, you don't have to beat up anyone.
Yeah.
You don't have to win anything. You can just express yourself. And I love the idea of like recoaching myself to be nice with comedy.
What do you mean by that?
Tennis, I was so mean to myself.
Really?
Well, tennis, it's the one sport you see people like break their equipment, yell at themselves, like have full mental breakdowns on the court. Because you can't call timeout. You can't talk to coaches. So I would just leave a match and be like, you stupid dumb bitch, you suck.
To yourself?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's like a 12-year-old girl.
Oh, my God.
That was the first time I cursed on the court. I was like, balls, fuck, shit. My parents are like, what? And I'm like, nothing.
Jesus. Are you serious?
No, I was a monster to myself.
Now I don't want my daughter to play tennis.
Don't. No, I mean, don't.
That's really interesting.
No, but what I love about tennis for women, it's the one sport where, like, we really had respect. Now other sports are coming up, but like I grew up with Serena and Sharapova.
Oh my God, yeah.
And those women are making money.
Oh, big time.
And my dad was literally like that meme where he's like, let's get this girl to tennis.
Oh, yeah.
And we also love the sport.
Like Serena and Venus's dad.
Yeah. It's emotionally and physically a difficult sport because you're alone. But what I've done lots of therapy on is all those years in tennis, even though they were difficult, I've been able to transition it into a different career.
Sure.
And I always say just because you stop doing one thing doesn't mean you can't use those skills to be great at something else.
Completely.
And I think some people can be kind of, you think, this is who I am, this is what I am, when like everyone's capable of so many different things.
Well, tennis and stand-up are so similar because you're alone, right?
Period.
And head game.
Yep. I say it's like, because tennis and stand-up is not a one-sided thing. There's a lot of variables.
Yeah.
We're not giving a speech. We're doing a dance with the audience. And tennis is like, I could think my serve is good, but what if their return is better?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of like being on the road alone and dealing with your own mind. So with stand-up, I've made a conscious decision to like be very positive with my like ego and have a different relationship with the stage than I did with the court.
Yeah.
So like when I go off stage, I'll be like, if something doesn't go right, I'm really nice to myself. Like I'll be like, wow, you handled that great. You got better as a stand-up for putting yourself through that.
Yeah.
And like, I'm proud of you. Let's go to sleep.
That's so interesting because I played tennis through high school and I wanted to play in college, didn't quite go there. I ended up doing improv.
Honestly, our stories are the same.
Yeah, similar. No, but I will say like there's so many things from tennis my mom taught me, still use. The person who wins the point is the person who hits the ball over the net more times. It's endurance.
It's amazing.
Right? Like it's and I think stand up is the same way.
Yeah.
I say this all the time, like the people in stand up who succeed, they keep doing stand up. They keep showing up.
You're 100%.
Everybody gets better if they keep doing it.
Just get on stage.
Yeah.
And so many people, it's like 99% of the battle is literally just like convincing yourself to get on stage.
You know how many people when they were starting out, who I started with, who were like, they suck. And now they're like, they're good.
Yeah.
What are the lessons? So I had that one from my mom.
Yeah.
Which is my mom's whole thing, and I think this is true in stand-up, keep the ball in play.
Yeah.
I never say die on a show.
Yeah.
I'll never throw in the towel and be like, this audience sucks.
Yes.
I'm not going to bring it.
Yes.
Do you have anything like that from tennis that you bring?
100%. Someone told me that like the difference between top players is not their strokes. Like everyone has the same strokes.
Yeah.
You see the top 300, 500 players, they have the same strokes.
Yeah.
What's the difference? It's their mentality.
Yeah, it's head game.
And someone said like the best athletes, after something bad goes wrong, they did some test. I don't know how this test happened. I don't know if I'm making up this stat, but that more of the top players had a positive thought
Yeah.
quicker.
Yeah.
So it's basically like you can't affect what happens to you, but you can affect how you react to it.
Have a positive thought quicker.
And it's how, like, on stage, if you see comics just sabotage themselves, where before they even go on stage, they're like, this audience fucking
This
sucks.
audience sucks.
And then they make it happen.
Yeah.
And then they lean into it. And I'm like, what? I sometimes think my naivety with stand-up helped me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't start as traditionally, where I kind of was like, oh, it's kind of cool, I'm here.
Yeah.
And with that experience and being nice to myself, I was able to kind of have more positivity with stand-up. And I really think that's how I got a special, because I was nice to myself and I was positive. First time I did stand-up was to a sold-out crowd at Caroline's, and I
That's
did,
not usually
and I
how
did,
it goes.
and I did 10 minutes of stand-up, and I've never done it before.
Wow.
You don't. That's not the rules.
No.
I'd been like writing sketches and tweeting. I got involved in like funny video stuff, but not stand-up.
Yeah.
And then I started a podcast, and I was asked at Caroline's to do a live podcast. And my friend was like, and I had met a lot of stand-ups through writing like sketches and stuff.
Yeah.
And my friend was like, who's not a stand-up, do 10 minutes of stand-up, take your tweets, use them as premises, or like tell some of your stories.
Really smart.
And if I had gone the traditional route, it would be like, no, you have to do 5 minutes for 3 years in open mics, which does work.
Yeah.
But I kind of did it. And then after the show, people were like, my favorite part was the beginning when you were like talking to the crowd.
Yeah.
And I remember being scared that I was going to have like performance anxiety. Because tennis, I had a lot of performance anxiety.
Yeah.
Like it's double faulting, or, you know, like I can't hit my forehand today.
Yeah.
But the stage, there was like a freedom to it. I felt like I was talking to my friends.
Yeah.
And once I felt that, I was like, oh my God, that's what I wanted when I was playing tennis, but I never had.
Huh.
Because tennis, there's a lot of nerves involved.
For sure.
You got your parents, you got your coaches, you got scholarships on the line. And stand-up, I was like, no one even fucking knows I'm doing this.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. And isn't that freeing when no one cares?
Yeah. No, and also, like, here's another sports lesson, I think, for stand-up.
This is a sports podcast.
I know. I'm gonna get made fun of for it. People will make fun of me in the YouTube comments for sure.
They make fun of me for talking about tennis too much, and I'm like, look.
No, I'll get off in a second, but I will say this. One of the great lessons I think I've ever learned in sports is anyone can beat anyone on any given day.
Ooh.
I think true of stand-up. I think you can take any audience. I think you can kill with any audience. You can follow someone. You can follow 4 people who bomb. You can get them.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
and you can also lose them. You can follow 4 people who kill, and you could die.
Yes, belief is everything.
Yeah.
Like if you go on stage, you're in a good mood, you're feeling yourself. Another comic who's way better is for some reason like in their head about something.
Yeah.
It affects the performance.
Yeah.
And you can't win a match if you don't think you're gonna win it.
Yeah.
So it's like going on stage for me. I also was like, wait, no one's gonna say like she won or she lost.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is an expression of myself. This
Yeah.
is fun. So I kind of finally found the thing in life that I felt like I could work hard with and also not deal with as many like hard depression, like getting pissed off about the results. And once you were a little less result oriented with the stand-up, it's crazy. Things started happening with me.
Yeah. So your dad was your coach,
Yeah.
like Venus and Serena, and many others. So
I was
Tiger
just like them, except less talented.
No, I mean, think about how many sports parents were their coaches. It's a very common thing.
My thing with my dad,
it
was definitely difficult because from an early age, I was like, wait, when I win, my dad loves me so much.
Oh my gosh. Oh God.
And I don't have a kid yet, but like I get it. Like I totally get the first feeling like your daughter wins something. Like he was like, I thought I was Rocky Balboa.
Yeah.
Like we were running around the parking lot, like just like it was the greatest feeling in the world.
Well, it's so funny. I wrote a joke that I haven't done on stage, but it's basically like my dad growing up would always say, it's not about winning, it's about trying. But he always seemed to enjoy it when I was winning, and he didn't seem to care when I was trying. It's so true, though. There's no getting around that. Of course, you're supposed to teach your kids that it's not about winning. But when they fucking win, it's actually kind of nice. Come on. Come on. This is a sports podcast. Here we go.
Let's go. We're not some fucking losers, okay? No, I remember like we'd see dads in the park and their daughter's like learning to play soccer and the dad will just be like, what the fuck was that? And like you can't help it, but it's because you care.
No, I know.
And one
thing devastating,
I will say about my dad is that he believed in me. Like, I don't know why. He believed in me more than anything. So like it put a lot of pressure on me, but there were matches where like I won purely because I was like, my dad knows I could win. Like he thought I should beat anyone, and that gave me this belief in myself. And it could be, but it also made me feel so shitty when I lost because I'm like, I'm supposed to be the best.
I mean, that's deep.
It's
you gotta
dark.
go deep. I mean, you didn't hit that in your special that's out now, and so, I feel like that's got to be special too.
I'm so happy that I'm doing this pod right now because everyone's like, you didn't do one joke about tennis.
Yeah, and
I was like, because I haven't found the funny in it quite yet.
Yeah.
But like what you like that bit you just did, I'm like, I know I have stories of my dad and the situations of the parents. Because at first I was like, tennis is not relatable.
Yeah,
because I was trying to do the low hanging fruit.
No, it is relatable. It's relatable in my opinion because sports, the reason why we're all obsessed with sports, I'm not even someone who follows sports, but the reason we're obsessed with it is because it is a metaphor for everything.
Yeah.
It
tests your character.
You're super vulnerable.
It's so embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
It's literally reality TV. Like watching someone strike out, you're
it is.
Ew. That was so embarrassing for him.
There's a famous line that someone said, which is, watching sports is like watching the best movie that's ever been made.
Yes.
Because it's actually conflict in real time.
Yes.
And
drama.
It's real as hell.
Tension.
Yeah, it's tension.
You can't write a better story than like an average like Mets game last night where they I'm like, that was craziness.
Come on. But like, so with your dad, it's like, what's the thing about your relationship with your dad? Because you made this jump to stand-up comedy. It's like, did he come along for the ride? Is he good with it? Is he resentful that he's not part of it?
I think with my dad, the first thing people say, I think especially with female comics, and I'm not particularly dirty. Like, yeah, I have a queef joke here and there, but people will be like, whoa, like his friends will be like, your daughter's she says some adult stuff.
Right.
And he'll smile and be like, I just want her to be happy, and also like, where the fuck do you think I got it from?
Right.
Like my dad is one of the funniest people I've ever met.
Italian dad.
He's actually like European mutt.
Oh, okay.
Salesman.
Italian mom.
Okay. He definitely is charming and funny, and he basically is just like he can't even fathom what I'm doing because he was like so close to me during that other chase of a dream.
Yeah.
But I almost feel like he felt like, oh, I was with her through this. Now she can fly and do other things. It's like he could not be better now. And sometimes I will be like, do you still are you proud of me even though I didn't go pro?
Yeah.
Like I'll still have those moments in my head where like he's like, yeah, she got all this, but like she didn't do what we wanted. And that's like my battle of being like, regardless, I should be okay. Because it's not my responsibility to make him happy. But knowing that he always said he's most proud of me because of the adversity. He's like, all the things that have happened to you, like, you just keep going. And I was like, oh, I was looking at it purely result oriented. He's like, oh, whenever like you drop, you bounce back higher. And that's like how he sees stuff. Because like, it's a lot of bumps in the road, to do anything.
That. The last 40 seconds of what you just said, it has to be in your next show. Like that's that conversation with your dad. Because first of all, like who asks their parent point blank if they're proud of them? I have not.
Are we good? Are we good here?
Have not.
My dad was so funny. Like when I was younger, he would have me like play tennis against his friends. Like he'd be like, "Oh, you play tennis? You want to play my daughter? Play my daughter."
Crazy.
Or like some kids like fast, and he'll be like, race my daughter. Like he just was like so proud of me.
This isn't a comedy special. This is a movie. This is a movie.
I was just like, he was so proud of me, but like obviously it fucked me up because I was just this like, I had to always perform for daddy's love. But he also was hilarious with boys too, because I remember like once I like lost a match I trained with a lot of guys, and he pulled me aside and he was like, did you lose that match on purpose because you liked him?
Oh.
And I was like, no. And he goes, if you ever let a boy distract you.
Oh my gosh.
If you ever let a boy distract you. So in my head, I always was like, men, bad, distracting, winning, good. And that was like my mentality, which kind of was feminist of him.
Well, that's why you ended up with Des Bishop, because he's a loser. He's a man, but he's a loser.
Des Bishop, he's my dad.
He's my dad. I'm friends with your husband, Des Bishop. That's why I feel comfortable making a joke about it. But what's so funny is in your special you call him old, and I look it up. I'm like, he's 48. I'm like, I'm 46. Am I old? Like I thought I was middle aged.
Older than you.
I know, but 2 years.
You know, he's not old, but
But also, have you considered that when you're 65, he'll be 80?
Then I'm just putting him in a home.
I love that you immediately have an answer for it. I love that you didn't flinch before saying
And
you're
it'll be
putting
a
him
nice
in a home.
home.
Yeah,
It'll be a nice home.
No, I get it.
He'll have a cute little nurse.
No, you work hard. You work hard.
I will
You're
spoil
competitive.
that man.
Yeah.
But I do think when you're in your 30s and you are a girl who's, you know, you start becoming financially independent, you know what you want, like dating a guy in his 40s is nice. And I think as long as there's not like a weird power dynamic, I think it's great.
All right. There you have it.
You should get yourself a Zaddy.
Oh my God. I've never heard that term.
Shaking your head.
What's a zaddy?
A Zaddy.
Zaddy?
You're a Zaddy.
What is it?
A Zaddy is like, you know, like an older guy who like has confidence, like stuff going on.
You want me to get that?
No, you're a Zaddy already.
Okay. Then what was your advice to me regarding being a zaddy?
Well, you can get your own Zaddy if you want.
Someone older than me?
Yeah.
Would it be a man or a woman?
I don't judge. Like whatever you want to do.
Well, I'm a heterosexual married man. What would that be? What would that be for me? What would,
Or you could
what would a zaddy be for me? I don't
feel
know
like-
the term.
You know how Taylor Swift
I'm being
has like
set up.
You know how Taylor Swift has like a girl crew?
Yes.
I think you should have a Zaddy crew.
Okay.
I think you should get a bunch of Zaddy. You Des.
You think it's women or men? It's men.
Men.
Men?
Just
Okay.
older men.
It's like a crew.
That are yeah, like you roll into the cellar.
Like
the
older
Zaddy,
dads. Even though
Zaddies
you
are
say
here.
I'm old, but I'm middle aged. I'm 46 years old. I'm so definitively middle aged.
No, you're definitely middle aged, but a Zaddy because you have a child.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is Z? What's the Z in zaddy?
The Z is the je ne sais quoi.
Oh Jesus. The Z is the je ne sais quoi.
It's your, you know, your personality and
Zaddy.
your confidence. You're
I'm a
Zaddy.
daddy, but je ne sais quoi.
Yes.
Okay. I'll accept it. I don't know if it's an insult or a compliment.
100% a compliment.
Okay. I'll take
You
it
could
at your
Google
word.
it afterward.
I'll take you at your word. It's true. But let's get back to your dad because he was like, don't get caught up in like having a crush on like your opponent.
Definitely
that kind of
around
thing.
like 14 years old when people start getting hormones, some girls who were great at tennis would just drop off because they were like, they discover partying. So part of it was like the more you stay focused, the more you like numb your emotions, be like, I'm not nervous, I'm not scared, I'm focused, I don't want to go to parties, I don't like boys, I like this. That's what makes you a champion. And I sacrificed all that. So then at 21, like I played one for Wisconsin, but I wasn't happy. I didn't enjoy it anymore.
You were number 1 at Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It was what I wanted to do, but then you're just like still not happy.
And then what kept you from going pro?
I did get hit by a car, but that was kind of just an excuse.
Okay.
I
So you had an injury, but it wasn't.
I took it as a sign.
It wasn't a 1-for-1.
Yeah, I took it as a sign.
Okay.
It's also very hard to go pro financially.
Oh, come on.
You have to pay.
Trust me. I watched.
Yeah, you watch.
Breakpoint.
It's
I know.
fucking crazy.
Yeah,
and I was
it's
like
like trying to be. It's like trying to be just to put in perspective for listeners. Like it's trying to like get by being a minor league baseball player.
It's like
it's
if,
impossible.
It's like if you're on the Knicks, except you only get paid when you win. You have to pay for all your travel and your coaches and your equipment.
Forget about it. It's
So
impossible.
It's impossible. So I basically had that moment. I remember sitting down and telling my mom and dad, like, I think I want to see what else. I think there's other things, other facets to me that I want to discover.
Yeah.
And I think by that time they were kind of like, we're really proud of you. Like, you're good.
You asked them.
How proud from 1 to 10? You know, when you're in the doctors, like, how much pain are you in? 1 to 10, how proud are you now in this moment? And they were tired too. They saw that it wasn't making me. I was getting panic attacks. I was like it became like a drug where when you win, you felt nothing. But when you lost, it was the worst. When I won, I was like, thank God I fucking won. Because if I lost, I would have been so upset.
Write that down. Put it in the show.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
I
relate, because by the way, you're saying, is this relatable? I've never played professional tennis or serious tennis. I relate to that 100%. The whole thing you're saying right now of like, when the bad thing happens, you feel bad. When the good thing happens, you feel nothing.
You're like, thank God. You have relief, maybe.
That's a really important lesson
but I thought
for
that's
everyone to take in.
And I thought that's just life.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do something great. It's painful. It sucks. And this is what you have to do.
Yeah.
So I finally, and I'm not trying to tell everyone to be a quitter, because we were just talking about don't quit.
Yeah.
But there's like a funny meme going around, this little girl trying to kick a soccer ball and she can't kick it. It was really bad. And then she does like a backflip to go to the back of the line. And they were like, you're not bad. You're just doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And sports videos, that's the one thing that gets me choked up online.
Yeah.
Like a girl coming back from tripping in a track race, like I'll start crying.
Yeah.
It like tugs in my heartstrings.
Yeah.
But it's true. And it's crazy because after college, I go back. I was doing some sports broadcasting. Like I learned how to edit videos.
Oh, wow.
And that was, I think, a huge help in my comedy, that I could edit my own stuff.
Yeah.
But I remember telling my mom, I want to go on the subway and interview people.
No shit.
I swear to God. I told her that. And then I was like, nah, that's a crazy idea. Fast forward 10 years later, I start interviewing comics at the stand.
Yeah.
And that's what blows up.
Yeah, no, I mean, your on the street videos are great. When you start, like, what's the strangest thing you ever witnessed with those videos?
I'm obsessed with those videos. It stemmed from, I do think, because like I'm very close to my dad and my brother, and I grew up training with just mostly men.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of obsessed with understanding the male brain while also them understanding the girl brain.
Right.
And I feel like for some reason, like even when I was doing sports interviews, the guys felt comfortable with me. And I told the comics, because I originally didn't want to interview comics. I wanted normal people, but then they would be like, oh, I was drunk, or don't put me in the video. I'm like, I want people who want to be filmed.
Yeah.
I told the comics, I'm like, don't try and make me laugh. Be honest.
Yeah. And
I would ask guys like honest questions, like, you know, when a girl farts, like, how do you really feel? And then we'd like, or like what's your favorite, you know, nail color on a girl, or how does she pee with a tampon, like that type of stuff. Because it wasn't an attack. It was let's understand this together.
Yeah.
One of my favorite questions is asking the guys, what do men talk about when girls aren't around?
Yeah.
Because it's a very innocent, funny concept.
Yeah. And
hearing the guys, they're like, we talk about pussy. And then they're like, we actually don't talk about pussy as much as you think.
Oh
and then
God.
they're like, sports. Because we joke that men, they know each other for 10 years. They don't know like one real feeling from the guy.
So
they don't even know his last name. His name's
Often
not Pookie.
true.
Like, what's his real name?
Right.
So kind of instead of this like man versus woman thing, kind of like understanding and finding the humor in the fact that we are misunderstanding each other sometimes.
Yeah, I think the one I've noticed recently with people is, you know, people for a long time, and then you live past in a friendship the statute of limitations of asking shit that's super basic. So you'll like know someone for like 15 years.
Do you have a kid?
Yeah. Do you have a kid? What city were you born in?
Yeah, that shit's crazy.
I mean,
there is a statute of limitation.
No, it's kind of crazy because like my friend Susan, who I'm sure she'll hear this, but like we're close from college. We're like been friends for like 25 years. We met freshman year in college, and I knew that her family was from Iran. I didn't know she was born in Iran.
Yeah.
Until last week. We've known each other 25 years. She came to my show in Richmond. We're talking. And I was like, but your parents are from Iran. She's like, right, but I was like, my God. You know, it's embarrassing.
I also like to talk about, because I had a bachelorette party a year ago, and I was thinking about like bachelor parties and how with girls, I joke in my special how it's like a cult, but it's so like, we can't trust Jessica. Like, she was supposed to wear purple and she wore blue.
That's great.
Like, literally, we can't. And then men will invite just like dudes who've done I'm like, didn't he like cheat on your sister and they're like, whoa, after a couple beers, like, he's a good guy, he's fun. Like, men, once they also, like, I'll see shows, like, two men will be like high-fiving, and I'm like, oh, how do you guys know each other? They're like, we just sat next to each other. Like, two men will become friends. So, like, the friendship, it's so different. Where girls, it's like, we need to know, like, your health background, every relationship you've ever been in, like, your signs. Like, it's a lot more complicated, the girls' relationship sometimes, to the male relationship.
But don't you think that's female too? Like, I feel like, don't you think two women could sit down next to each other and just become best friends-ish?
Well, there's this beautiful simplicity of two men just being like, you're a man, I'm a man.
Yeah.
Let's form an alliance.
And women don't have that.
No.
That's interesting.
But like, yeah, it's just, and that's what I'm kind of obsessed with. And I love seeing that, because I have this feeling that men and women are different. Right. But also I feel like they're similar too, or at least can understand each other more. Right. So I've been playing with that a lot with my comedy, because a lot of girls go to the shows with their boyfriends. Yeah. So then the boyfriends, it's like a female locker room. Yeah. Where I feel like they hear things that they don't normally hear. Right. And then they're like learning some stuff, and I'm like, I feel like we're all learning things.
Do people ever push back and go, that's not true? You know, if you talk about gender, you know, like a generality.
I feel like the guys will get annoyed. I'll joke on the fact that I'll make fun of girls that we will accuse guys of gaslighting. So I kind of like lean on certain tropes.
Wait, can you say that again?
So like I'll joke that like men fall asleep really quickly because they're so tired from gaslighting all day.
Oh yeah, that's
so
a great
obviously
joke.
Like it's a joke.
Yes.
Because I don't really think all men are gaslighting. Right. But then I'll joke and be like, this man doesn't know what gaslighting is. So I kind of play on the concepts of it. Right. And I it's hard to mass generalize it all, but gaslighting's a term I think that people have used from therapy, and they'll throw it around too much. So I'm kind of leaning in to the fact that we can he's fucking gaslighting me. So the men are laughing because they're like, yeah, that's so my girlfriend. And the girls are laughing because they're like, yeah, that's my boyfriend. Right. So they both kind of I try to find a way to like make fun of the women while making fun of the men. Yeah, but then I also I have a joke in my special, bringing up Des, where I joke about a moment he was emotional.
Oh my gosh.
And he thought he was having a heart attack.
Oh,
at the end. Yes. And I like to say that when guys feel any emotion besides anger, they're like, can you call 911? Because I'm really uncomfortable.
That's really funny.
And I think a lot of men, and Des and I still are fighting over if it was a panic attack or a stomach ache.
I was going to ask about that. I was going to ask,
he says
what
it
is
was
his
a stomach ache.
take?
He will. It's so
because
funny.
You have two comedians. You have two comedians arguing over a very dramatic story where
have two full different
he
bits.
says call 911 while you're having dinner. And does he do it as a bit too?
Yep.
And
it's a completely different bit.
So it's going to be in your special and his special.
So people say like, do you guys ever decide like who gets the story? I go, the stories are completely different all the time.
Was there any of the celebrity interviews you couldn't use? Because I saw like Charlie XCX and Hailey Bieber and all these people, Jennifer Lawrence. Was there anything that didn't make it?
Oh, all the time.
All the time. Is it because it was controversial at the time?
Well, when you're with these bigger celebrities, they have to approve of questions. Oh. So that is the hard thing with these bigger interviews, where the comics, we can do everything. Right. So I have to get them approved, and sometimes you can't do a whole lot. So then it's about me riffing off of it.
So
to
with
try
Jennifer
to get
Lawrence,
that
you
gold.
have to send questions to Jennifer Lawrence's publicist.
People, yeah.
And
but
so she looks at the thing.
So then I riff, and then I edit it, and I send it, and I pray that they keep in the riffs. And Jennifer Lawrence's interview, they did.
Well, that's nice.
But I've definitely had some rogue moments, like the Jonas Brothers. I had to ask about like breakfast because they had a waffle song coming out, and I was like, how do we make this funny? So I had to ask them, do you like sweet or savory for breakfast? And Joe said like savory, and then Nick said savory, and I just on a whim was like, because you have to like, they only give you like 6 minutes, so you just have to go when you think you have a moment. So I was like, what, you don't think it's manly if you have a sweet breakfast? And he goes, I have diabetes. The whole room got silent. There was like 20 people who worked for them. And in that moment, I was like, we have to get over this. So we start dying laughing. They start laughing. We get through it. But it gets kept in the interview.
Oh, good.
And it ended up being like a good moment.
Oh, my gosh.
But it's like you kind of have to test, like you kind of have to push the limit to see if you could get a moment. Otherwise, it'll just be like a normal interview. Yeah. Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah.
That's like... That's a stressful side of the job.
I had a moment with Cat Williams recently.
Oh, did you really?
I did this golf charity because I like to play golf too.
Oh.
And they threw me in just to do interviews, and they were like, we don't know who might stop, but just stand there, see who wants to talk to you.
Yeah.
And I was actually talking to Rory, and they were like, Cat Williams is coming. Cat Williams is coming. So I was like, okay, Rory, I'll talk to you in a bit. And Cat Williams was like, well, this is a very bad Cat Williams impression. What's going on over here? What you talking about? So he comes in, and I ask him something about like, what's a rule in golf that you don't like? And he goes on this whole long spiel about like the concept of rules, and it's like going on for a long time. And then I was like, I have to go for it. And I go, why do I feel like this sounds like you don't know any rules to golf?
That's funny.
Which was kind of ballsy because like I just met Cat Williams and I respect him so much. And he just goes, well, it takes a genius to know a genius. And we had that pop, and
that's nice.
And it was like a beautiful moment. But it's funny. It's like sports. Do you take the risk and possibly lose?
Yeah.
Or do you play it safe and not have a chance to win?
That's great.
It's crazy.
That's really nice.
But yeah, I've definitely swung and missed at a lot of jokes, but sometimes they hit.
This is a slow round. What are people's favorite and least favorite things about you?
Probably their favorite is that I am silly and outgoing, and like I'll always be in a good mood. Like you'll never see me in a bad mood.
Yeah.
I think people like that. What they don't like is like that I don't like to hang out with people.
Oh, that's interesting. So are you introverted?
I'm like a real homebody.
That's interesting.
So it's like when I'm out, I feel like I'm life of the party. Everyone's having fun, but like it takes a lot for me to go out because I prefer to be inside with my cat.
I relate
and
to
my
that.
Man. Yeah.
It's really interesting. So do you describe it as introverted?
It's funny because like you cannot call my ass introverted, but like I don't party.
Yeah.
I don't drink really. I'm not sober. I just don't.
Yeah,
I'm not into it.
Same.
And I prefer to eat. I like to eat.
Same.
I don't like talking. I don't like big groups.
Yeah.
I don't like concerts. Yeah. I don't like roller coasters. I don't need extra adrenaline. I have enough anxiety just existing in my own self.
Right.
I don't need, those people are like, I just love being around people. I'm not that person.
Yeah.
I love one-on-one stuff.
Yeah.
But otherwise I'm kind of confused.
Great answer. Do you have a memory from your childhood that makes you cringe?
Oh my God. So many. As a kid, I definitely was a ball hog. Oh. Like
basketball?
In other basketball
yeah.
And it's possible baseball. I was a ball hog. I would be I would pitch, and then I would run and field the ball, and then I would run to first base because I wasn't confident the other people could do it, which honestly was valid. It was a very low performing team.
You would pitch?
I'd play all the bases. And the coach loved it. The other parents probably not so much. They were like,
you would pitch. The batter would hit. You
would ball.
Field.
I would field it and then sprint because I was very fast and dive. My dad loved it. Every other parent was definitely like, let's kick her off the team. But we were winning.
That is, I have to say, like, I have no judgment for these slow round questions. That's annoying.
No, I
like
also like
genuinely
when I played
annoying.
basketball, like I would score all the points.
Wow.
Like, because all I wanted was my dad to love me.
Oh,
the other parents were probably like, can you let another kid have the ball?
Wow.
But I had a lot of pressure on me.
Wow.
So now I do stand up so I don't have to pass the ball ever.
Jesus Christ. That's a great answer too.
Was that too honest?
No, it's great. There is no too honest in this round.
I keep looking at Gary to be like, is this okay?
I just feel like your second special is just gonna pour out of you because all this stuff.
I've been nervous about it.
I just think all this stuff is great. Like if you can admit all this stuff about yourself on stage and talk about your relationship with your dad as your coach, I just think it's just gold. Do you remember a time in your childhood where you did something wrong and you got away with it, or you were lying and got away with it?
I remember my brother and I were like left at home for one of the first times. I remember we were like a little young, and they were like, we're going out for like an hour.
Yeah.
Eat your dinner. We'll be back. Don't do anything stupid.
Yeah.
And we're eating spaghetti and meatballs, as we do.
Mm-hmm.
My brother said something annoying. He's my younger brother. So obviously I took the meatball and I threw it at him. And next thing you know, we had a full food fight.
Wow.
And they came home and there was just meatballs everywhere. But it was one of those moments where my brother and I, we looked at the white wall and we had those like, okay, we have to stop this fight between us and realize it's us versus mom now. We have 20 minutes to try to clean this wall.
Oh, wow.
So we were like trying, but my mom, like, she could smell like anything.
Sure.
If anything was off by like an inch, she'd be like, what'd you guys do?
Oh, wow.
So
is that what she was like? Like she was meticulous?
She was very meticulous. We threw a party once. Like we weren't even bad kids. We threw a party once. And we had moved the rug to play beer pong.
Yeah.
And she walked in and she was like, were you guys playing beer pong? Like it was crazy.
That's impressive.
She was a middle school principal.
Yeah.
Of a school in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So nothing went past that bitch.
Let's talk about new material.
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
have new jokes you're working on? Like
Oh my
half
God.
ideas?
This isn't
Anecdotes?
I'm prepared.
Okay, great.
So this is my first hour I've ever done.
Yeah.
So it's
That's
like
on Netflix now.
It's on Netflix now, and I probably only have 15 more minutes of material, period.
Wow. Okay.
Which is pretty upsetting. and Des literally goes, I've forgotten more jokes than you have.
That is so funny.
So
I'm going to say something. I'm going to make a bold proclamation. 2 things that you've said in this interview that straight up could be material.
Okay.
One is literally the stories about interviewing people, you talking about what you said, what they said, etc. Even the Cat Williams thing is like that is material.
Okay.
The other thing is because you can't assume everybody's seen every video.
No,
you know
for
what I
sure
mean?
they haven't.
And then
It's also my experience of it.
Yes, and then all the stuff you were saying about your dad being your tennis coach, all the stuff, it's hilarious and it's interesting. I mean, I just think people are going to be. I think people are going to be way more interested in that than you realize.
I do think with this special, I did all the things that I think are the funniest, but I definitely did not delve into like uniquely anything about myself too specifically.
And people want to know that.
They do. I think when you first start comedy, you're like, these people don't give a shit. Like, let's make the jokes that they want to hear. But this has been so helpful because the tennis stuff, I feel like we've broken into a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And even just seeing your reaction to it.
Yeah.
I wrote Birbiglia bits.
Birbiglia bits.
That's what I wrote. Okay, some of this is really stupid. I have really stupid ideas.
That's fine.
So these are...
We accept.
Okay, first I just wrote, servers that memorize the orders. Don't be a hero. Don't play God.
That's funny. Don't play God. But again, I know.
It's not personal at all. It's not what we're going for. But that was my thought. It stresses me out when they do that. Only things could go bad. I'm not that impressed anyway.
Yeah.
I'm hungry also.
Have you... I mean, my question in terms of like pulling it out is like, have you ever taken the step of telling the person that they should write it down?
I think you'll repeat it like 4 times for them, like and with the cheese, and with the cheese, and like we got it. I'm like, the cheese part,
right?
Did you get the cheese?
Right.
Because you know how people get so weirdly emotional with their food.
Yeah.
Like, why is it like if they get your order wrong, a part of you dies? And I would never tell them anything, but like you're like, I've had a long day.
Yeah.
And all I wanted was cheddar cheese, not Swiss cheese.
Yeah. No, I totally relate to that.
And what it takes for you to get the assertiveness to be like, hey, I ordered Swiss cheese. And is it worth it?
No, I think that's great. I would just localize it just into one story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think generally, like, when I have like an observation about something, it's like, just take all the details of all the most absurd times and put it into a single story.
And this bit would be so perfect as a tag just in a story of me at a restaurant.
Totally.
So right. I talked about breakups. How, you know, when you start Googling stuff, like if you're like, is he a narcissist? Or like, should I break up? Signs you should break up. Or when you start making lists, like a pros and cons list.
Yeah.
Just like things you do. It's like when you're in it, you don't see it. But afterwards, you look at your Google history and you're like, oh, what more of a sign did you need? You were Googling like, is this person bad for me? I feel like we've all done it though.
That's really funny. Yeah. No, I would say this. Look, if I'm being like completely honest, like I would go into thinking about a specific time you did that for an ex.
Yeah.
And just be like, because a lot of people are like, I don't want to talk about this person because I don't want them to see blah, blah, blah. First of all, they'll never see it. Give them a different name. Give him a different haircut, a few different attributes.
Yeah.
Let's say he was a valet at a restaurant that you met.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
make up things that don't matter.
Yes.
And then say the stuff that does matter.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The emotional truth,
This
which is actually what's interesting.
This is so helpful for starting new bits, because I definitely have a little writer's block where I worked so hard in this hour for so many years that then you're like, how do I even put a candle to it?
Yeah.
But then I realize I'm such a better comic now.
Yes.
But the whole concept of starting a bit, which is why this podcast is so, fun for me, the idea of working it out, there's so many different ways that you hit that gold.
Completely.
And that's why I love, like, there's no rules to how you get there. But sometimes you forget how the hell you ever got there.
Well, tell me this. And we'll cut out whatever you want if you're uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about a boyfriend where you're like, this dude's a narcissist, but I'm not sure. Can you tell me? Don't say his name.
Sure.
Don't say his name.
I'll give you his social security number.
No, but don't say his name. But also, like, tell me like a couple things about it.
I've definitely been with someone who, like, everyone was super proud that I was with.
Oh my gosh.
And everyone liked him. So then I thought I was sabotaging it because I felt that there was something wrong with him, but I thought I was gaslighting myself.
Yes.
And I was like, he's perfect. Why? I felt like I was signing a deal with the devil staying with him.
Interesting.
But no one knew.
But what? Okay, so what were the red flags?
Red flags were like, I was only allowed to hang out with him on Sundays.
Get the fuck out of there. Get the fuck out of there. Get out of there. If you're listening to this podcast and your boyfriend only lets you hang out on Sundays, get out of there.
I hung out with him for a weekend once, and we like visited somewhere, and he came back, and he was like, wow, I thought I was going to get sick of you, but I didn't.
Oh, that's awful. I mean, get out of there.
But in your young mind, you're like,
you got
oh, no, I think he likes me.
Write it all down. Write all this down. I mean, this is great.
So right.
This is so great. Okay, third red flag. Any third red flag? This is just all gold. I only want to hang out with you on Sunday. Come on.
He, like, after, like, he wouldn't laugh at my jokes.
Oh,
and that's ultimately why I put the foot down. Because I'm like, I don't need to see you. I don't need to spend that much time with you. But if I don't feel funny around you, like, where is the joy in life?
Beautiful. And that's a beautiful way to potentially have it be. Red flag 1, very funny. Red flag 2, very funny. Mm-hmm. Red flag 3, emotional. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think your audience can handle that. Like,
yeah.
For
sure.
Your audience knows you not just as a comedian, but they know you from your podcasts. They know you from your videos. So in a certain way, they know you even better than a typical like stand-up comedian knows their audience, or the audience knows a stand-up comedian. I feel like if you did go emotional like that, like, I think they'll roll with that.
I would love to. I also thought of more red flags.
What?
Well, I dated a football player in college.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to go to Bible study with him.
Oh no.
And I've been working on this, and my joke was like, he has CTE, so like, how does he read? I don't know how he does Bible study. Raising awareness for CTE.
Yeah, of course.
And he also, he like would misspell words when he was texting me. Like, he spelled the word isn't ISINT. And I was like, we have to stand up for ourselves, like, for women in this moment. I was like, you spelled it wrong. And he was like, I'm tired from practice. And I'm like, you don't add a letter when you're tired. And I just was like, but he was so good looking. It was like, I've gotten a lot of situations where I've been in relationships where, like, on paper, like, he's the football player. He's 6'7". He's handsome. But when you're with him, like, he doesn't believe that your friend, like, is a lesbian because he thinks that she chose to be gay. Like, crazy shit.
Oh, dear.
And we're just, like, not. But then, like,
that didn't last more than a week, did it?
It lasted way longer than it should have because he was 6'7", Mike.
6'7". I mean,
he could pick me up. He could pick me up like a baby.
I get it. That's good. I mean, I like that because I like the give and take of that, of like saying the crazy thing.
Yeah.
You know, doesn't believe my friend's a lesbian, whatever. And then I was there,
also, he had a great jawline.
He could throw, he could throw me over his shoulder, and we could go to the
I felt like a
supermarket.
light little dainty flower
exactly.
around him. But that is when you're younger, you're trying to figure out what is the give and takes, because I do joke like Disney movies are like be with the guy who's the
Yes.
prince,
Yeah.
and then you're with the prince and you're like, I don't know if this is how you're supposed to feel.
Yeah, but then you also have the thing about Shrek, thinking Shrek is pretty good.
Shrek is ugly hot.
Shrek is ugly hot, but then you didn't marry Shrek.
Wait, I
Death
did.
is not Shrek. Like your husband, like when you did that bit, I was like, okay, there's actually one little flaw in logic here, which is she didn't marry a Shrek at all.
I was being nice about Shrek, and I could acknowledge that he's ugly hot. Not for me.
Right.
Not for me. But I know I did end up being with an aesthetically pleasing looking man. But I do think
He is a handsome man.
I do have to say, because he's older, he just is a little more like wise than
Yep.
previous guys I've dated. And
Yep.
he happens to be good looking, but I appreciate his mind, which was like a new thing for me. Because it was bad in the past.
Yeah, minds are in these days.
Do you know you could have a conversation with someone?
Yeah. Wow. No, I mean, I feel like if you go down the road of just naming off all these red flags, that is going to be pure gold.
I've been working on a bit, but I haven't done it full. Like I ended up hooking up with the mascot at Wisconsin.
Oh, there you go.
So how have I not done like a 10-minute bit about that?
That is so funny.
I know.
Did you ever hook up like in the stands or anything? Like under
No,
the
but
stands?
he asked if he could wear his
Oh dear. Oh, okay.
thing once. Is that too much for this pod?
This interview,
Welcome to Call Her Daddy.
this interview's over. This interview's over. He asked if he could wear the thing. No way did he ask if he could wear the thing.
I was like, no, I'm not your silly little story for your bros.
Are you serious? He asked you to wear the...
I mean, I feel like every guy would ask that.
No. No. You're broken. You understand that you're broken? This is not a him thing.
Okay, you just gaslit me.
I
It's
know,
not my
I know,
fault
no, I know,
that
I
he
know.
asked me.
Okay. But that's gold. I mean, literally, you got to just listen back to this podcast and write down all these as bits. These are all great bits.
Okay.
The mascot who asked keeping the thing on.
I love how he had to go. My thing is, after the football guy, I was like, I want a guy who's like funny and doesn't take himself so seriously. But the mascots take themselves very seriously. Yeah, they think they're very important. They think they're like Spider-Man. Like they don't tell people that they're the mascot. It's like a whole culture.
I feel like if you did like a 3-minute ramp up of like making fun of your boyfriend asking to fuck you with the head on or whatever, I think the best punchline in it is, so I'm fucking him with the head on. You know what I mean? Like
He's an animal in the bedroom.
like I think it's such a.
I go, so he asked me that. And then the head was like hitting the side.
Yeah, exactly. Regardless if it's true, I feel like you got to just like kind of have that be your close.
No, you're right. I have to have fun with. I have to have fun with it.
Yeah, it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's where it has to go somehow.
It's also hard because now that you're married, you're like, okay, I gotta dig. Where was the fun stuff? Because if you're single with stand up, you're like, let's go out tonight and see what could happen.
No, totally. No, I think I honestly would just write down every ridiculous person you dated, every narcissist, every mascot, everybody. And honestly,
Narcissist mascot.
And Rory Scovel it. Go on stage with bullet points of like those people and just riff on it, record it, and just see what happens, because you're just like a funny person who's had a funny, interesting life. And I just think you're gonna have an amazing bunch of specials. That's my gut.
I appreciate that so much. I feel like I just did a masterclass by Mike Birbiglia in writing my next hour. And I'm like excited to get back on stage.
We do one last thing to close, which is working out for a cause. So if you have a nonprofit that you like to support, we contribute and then we link to them in the show notes.
I want to do a quick shout out. Let's do Southampton Animal Shelter.
Oh, great.
We're actually fostering a small pit bull named Abby, who's amazing.
Oh.
And she's looking for a home.
That's great.
So maybe we put Abby in the notes. And
that's great.
It's like kitten season, so there's all these kittens running around. I think kittens bring joy.
I love kittens.
Do you have cats?
Precious and Mr. Mustache. You don't know him?
I'm a big cat person. Butter? Okay,
course.
we'll talk about this next
Butter?
time.
Are you kidding me? Of course. I love butter.
A food name for a cat. So anyway, I'm obsessed with cats. I'm obsessed with animals. If you're having a lonely summer, adopt an animal.
I took my daughter to camp today, and it was dog park. And I'm like, kills me I can't get a dog because of the cats. Yeah. And you don't know if the cats are going to get along with the dogs.
It's a whole thing.
It's a whole deal.
It's a whole thing. And yeah, Des is a dog guy. I'm a cat person. So our lives revolve around Butter.
You have both?
Well, Abby, we keep her away from Butter.
Right.
And sometimes his brother takes care of Abby. But Abby's like a great dog.
Maybe someday when I get old like your husband, I'll get a dog. 2 years from now. All right. That's all. That's the show.